Welcome to the No Plan B podcast. My name is Rene Weimann, and today I'm here with DaVonté Lacy, and of course, my partner, Jumpin' Joe Asbury. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you guys that this guy's a walking bucket, there's certain players who I lived through. I dunked on a lot of people, and I couldn't shoot, and I couldn't dribble. But this guy, Lacy can give you buckets any way you want it. He can shoot over you, take you off the dribble, and if he catch you slipping, he will dunk on you. Mr. Lacy, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. That was a very generous intro. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, let's get it. Yes, sir. You representing the wonderful Pacific Northwest, my brother. I had to look out. Yes, sir. Gotta let the town know. Gotta let the town know.
Shout out to Tacoma, man.
For sure, man. All day, every day, man. So let's talk about this beautiful journey, man. And then, like I said, man, first and foremost, really love your game, man, because you're unselfish. And a lot of guys, with your skill set to be able to be that walking bucket and a weapon that can score at all times, but you're not selfish. You love to keep your teams involved. And I can tell just by the way you play, you just want to win. So let's talk about how did it all start, man. When did you fall in love with this ball?
Man, again, thank you for the intro. You're talking really highly of me. I appreciate it. But early on, I played all three sports. I played football, basketball, and baseball. Excelled in all of them. I just really developed a love for basketball around 5th grade, 6th grade, when we were playing in tournaments, but we were playing against, 7th graders and 8th graders, and we were competing, and I found like, this is probably what I'm going to do. Played football and baseball still all the way till high school, and then just really specified in basketball my 10th grade year, so 16 would be over here, and just took it really serious, took it to the next level. Stayed in the gym extra. I love to shoot. I always was a shooter. My AAU coach also used to say he doesn't rebound misses. So I was kind of lazy. So if I didn't want to rebound my own shot, I just had to make the shot. So he would for me. And then just, took it to the next level. Just really fell in love with the grind, the process of going into the gym, getting better day in and day out. And just, in high school, I had a lot of guys that would be in the gym with me that would help me, like mentors, like a guy named RJ Barsh would always open the gym up for me. Turner Cagle would always stay after for, my high school practices. And Coach Gary Ward was my AU coach that every time he was in the gym, I was always allowed in the gym, no matter if it was 4th or 5th graders. He would always let me allowed in the gym, and I would take advantage of it. I ended up, getting a full ride scholarship to Washington State University. Played in the Pac-12, and that's where I took another step and just had to learn how to be a pro. And to learn how to win, you have to lose, and I did my fair share of losing after having a pretty successful grassroots and high school career, but I was always grateful for Washington State about what they, the opportunity they gave me, Coach Bone, Coach Allen, and then later on Ernie Kent. It was a great experience. So that's how I really got started. And, the love of the game has never gone away. I mean, I've had dark moments, but I've always just loved to pick up a basketball and just play.
Man, that's beautiful, bro. Let's talk about that for a while too, because, back in the days, man, I chose Pepperdine, but, I actually won a state championship in Seattle, and back in the days. And the cool part about it, man, was that I was recruited by Washington State, man, and I didn't go there. So I've always loved guys that went there, man. And I especially during this pandemic, can we talk a little bit about the hostile crowds that you played in front of? Because it's tough for me to think about basketball without fans right now, but you could just take us back to some of those hostile crowds in the Pac-12 and how you still were able to go in there and get buckets, because that's what you do.
It was it's something that I developed in the Pac-12, where you go in a hostile environment and you make a bucket or you do something really like a nice move or do something, and it's so loud, but then when you make that move, it just calms all the way down.
Yeah.
And you run back on defense, and it's just like, I just silenced 10,000, 15,000 people. And I still get that same feeling over here. I tell people all the time, I like away games a little bit more than home games, just for the simple fact of I love silence in the crowd. You know, I love, you know, being that underdog and going against the David versus the Goliath. And when you got 15,000 against you, I mean, Arizona was packed 15,000 strong.
Oh my God.
Before games, they would be out there. University of Washington, it was always a rivalry game, so they would have 10,000, and it'll be loud. The way the acoustics is in that gym, it's loud, and they get on their runs, and it gets loud. Excuse me. The University of Oregon was, you know, they had one of the best gyms in the country, but they can get loud too once they get on runs. And then Utah was. Man, them Mormons, they know how to cheer on some basketball, man.
Yeah, so, they out there in love with the game, bro.
Kids from all ages, parents, and they respect the game of basketball too. So like if you make the right play, I know they're cheering and stuff, but it's loud. It gets loud, you know, they have the cardboard cutouts and all of it. And then like I said, I developed the mindfulness of going into somewhere and feeling like I'm against everybody. Like my team, 12 versus 15,000. So, and I developed that over here where it's even kind of more hostile with drums and people yelling at you and, you know, doing certain gestures and stuff. And it's like, I've been through it, you know? I love it. I love going on the road, silencing the crowd. And then, you know, some the basketball fans in Germany in particular, they respect your game. Like if I had a good game or made some good plays, they would come up to me and be like, you know, you had a great game. Like I loved watching you play and, you know, success. It wasn't no hatred off the court, you know, and that's one thing I appreciated about Germany as well. As long as the Pac-12 and stuff is just the love of the game, the people that really respect the game of basketball.
That's nice. Okay, well, let's fast forward to your pro journey, man. I mean, how's it going so far? And where's the let's say, because you've been to a few different countries, right? As we speak. So, where have you felt the most comfortable, and how you feeling right now?
Man, honestly, right now I'm in Groningen, Holland, with Donar Groningen. We're in basketball Champions League qualifiers and, you know, all the FIBA Europe Cup if we don't qualify and stuff. But I've been to Germany the last 3 years in Heidelberg, Ehigen, and Karlsruhe. And then after my first year was my rookie year, and I was in Austria. I loved Austria. My first 6 months I was in a small city, and then I left and actually came back to a different team in Vienna. And I always tell people Vienna is one of the best cities I've ever lived, best cities I've ever been to. It's really nice people. The architecture is incredible. Very, you know, has a good balance of Americanized, but still have their culture preserved. So it was really nice. I mean, obviously I've been in Germany the last 3 years, so Germany's really comfortable. But Turkey, I was in Turkey the beginning of last year for 6 months. And Turkey was one of the best experiences just because the people were really nice. The food was really good. You know, that's a struggle with Americans finding things that they like. I've been fortunate enough to be eating really good in these last 6 years. But Turkey was really, the cost of living is low, so you got to experience things. And I think it was just a great experience. I've been fortunate enough to be in some really good cities. Especially in the most recent years, especially in Germany. Germany treats you well. Germany, they do it right, man, with the recycling, the cleanliness of the cities. They do it pretty well. You never got to worry about money. That's always a positive. So I would say Germany and Austria are the two good countries that I've been to so far. I'm really loving it here, though. You know, this place is, nice, I'm looking forward to having a great year, and this year is going to be, you know, hopefully successful.
Very nice. I'll let Renee chime in because, you know, when we talk about the recycling, when I first came to Germany, you know me, man, hood rat coming out of California, you know what I mean? I'm putting everything, wait a minute, we got some beer bottles over here, I got last night's dinner over here, it's all going in one bag. Everybody's looking at me like, hey man, what's wrong with the Americans? Is it slow? Like, what's the drill? So I'm going to let Renee take over. Let's talk about the recycling, Renee.
About the recycling, yeah, of course. We're quite famous for that here, that we like separate everything, and I think that's a good thing in terms of the environment and everything. But from when you started, I had one question right from the beginning, because you
Go ahead.
said when you started you were playing in all different sports, and I'm always thinking I have a little bit of a background also in track and field, and also in a lot of other sports. I do some athletic performance coaching, and we all know like the US people, the USA, they are always the best in the Olympics. They have so many different great sportsmen in almost every sport, and it makes me think that this sports development system that you guys have is quite superior to others. That kids used to play in so many different sports when they're young. Would you agree? Was that also a good foundation for your basketball journey, that you like had so many different movements and so much movement complexity?
Yeah. I mean, at the time, we didn't do it for that, for how would football help me with basketball, and it was really just, we need something to do. You had to get out the house. You couldn't stay in the house, and there was some football practices 5 days a week in the fall. And then it was basketball, started to be all year round, but basketball was next, and then baseball was after that. And then it was a continuous cycle.
Yeah.
But I do look back on it and see that I took away things like my feet are a little bit faster from football than and things like that. My hand-eye coordination from basketball, from baseball is like I can catch a pass in basketball one-handed and then instantly throw it one-handed. I think it's just because of baseball, my hand-eye coordination and throwing. And then the mental aspect of, in football is the toughness, getting hit, getting right back up, the difference between an injury and being hurt. Baseball is the mental aspect of lining up against somebody and facing them one-on-one, a pitcher and a batter. There's things that, I look back on it now and have the comprehension that I can understand that I took this from that and it helped me in this sport, and yeah, we could be having the same conversation if I was a professional football player, that basketball helped me in dynamic movements, as I'm balance on one leg, can I push off, and can I have, mobility enough, strength mobility to have that strength on one leg and pushing off. So I do think that it's helped. I don't think that we do it on purpose. I just think that, I'm going to do the same thing with my son. I'm going to put him in 5 different sports, and whatever you like, dude, you can choose, and if you don't like sports, you don't. But I think it's good that, we have all these different options, and I've been picking up the game of golf lately, and it's helped me so much in my mental aspect of, basketball. Like at this age, there's many things I could do physically, but mentally, you can only read so many books. You can only, it's hard to practice mental strength, your mental capacity, how to strengthen it, and how to, hold more, and how do you strengthen your mental toughness, and golf has helped me a lot these last couple months. And, it's just always about expanding.
Yeah, and when we're at this point, I saw your shirt. Now you moved down a little bit; it's not visible anymore. But you're also a fan of meditation, yoga. Is it also?
Yeah. So I do yoga in the summers. This summer was unfortunate because of COVID. But yeah, I picked up yoga the last, I think, 4 years in the summers. And then meditation is something that I tried to practice this last year. This shirt actually is a friend of mine. He's started this Genius company. It's a supplement brand, but he believes in the same things, and it's just a coincidence, and we hooked up, and it works for me. But yeah, I do really strongly believe in your mind and controlling your mind, and with yoga, understanding your body and understanding if I move this way, what is pulling and what is not pulling, and I think it helps me with my game for sure.
Yeah, and the integration of the breath. I'm also a big fan of all those things.
Yeah, exactly. Breath, mindfulness, becoming in the moment, trying to stay in the moment, stuff like that. Yeah, I've been practicing it a real lot the last 3 years, and you see it in my game, especially in like clutch moments and later in the games. I don't get really flustered. I just play the game.
Yeah, it's about that body-mind connection.
Of course, that is, it's really vastly overrated. Vastly overrated.
Yeah, I mean, you see, I mean, I saw this morning, you know, that Paul George was saying that he was having some troubles in that bubble. You know what I mean? And honestly, when I thought about it, I thought, hey, man, you guys are just spoiled, man, because you know, playing basketball overseas, you know, you spend a lot of time alone, and then those times when I was alone, I didn't. I mean, of course, everyone's different, but I didn't view it as I wouldn't view that bubble as that much of a challenge. It's like, listen, we love this game. You're getting paid a lot. Go out there and do your thing, man. But that all boils down to what you just said too, to have that mental toughness. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, some people's not built for this life. You see it all the time. You see the G League guys coming over, and they're really good in the G League, but they can't make it in a second division Germany or a first division Germany or stuff like that. It's just, it's mental. You know, it's being away from people. It's living through FaceTime. It's, you know, not being, you don't get the gym access all the time, but when you do get it, how do you maximize it? You can't go 50%. You can't have 30 minutes to warm up and get, you know, you have to be locked in. You have to be a professional. The NBA is a different story. I mean, like you said, I think they've been, you know, they've earned it. They've earned that. They are some of the best players in the world, but at the same time, there's harder things in this world. And if you're going to be isolated only in a basketball town, in a basketball city, I think, you know, you're at that point, you're looking for something. You know, you're trying to be wrong. Like people always were talking about Kobe would excel in this, you know, and excelling because it's basketball 24/7. Like
exactly.
I think the people that aren't excelling are the ones that really don't, you know, have that love for the game that you would, you know, like us. Basketball all the time. That's cool. That's one of the reasons I went to Washington State. They said you can get in the gym 24/7.
Right.
Solid. Where do I sign? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Let's get it.
You know, everybody's built different, and some people aren't built for this life, no matter how good you are in basketball.
Appreciate it, bro. Let me ask you this question. What excuse me for a second, Renee. What advice would you give to a young guy who's, you know, 14, 15, growing up in Tacoma? Because me and you both know I'm from that environment. And, you know, I'm not going to go into too deep into detail, but there's some really tough places in Tacoma, and there's a lot of things going on. It's really tough inner city, man, for a kid to grow up there. So what advice would you give that youngster who is chasing the pro basketball dream and basically wants to be a guy like you?
You gotta, what I did that helped me a lot was make the choices that weren't popular. You know, if you know in your mind that you're gonna want to dream and chase that dream, then you got to make hard choices. My mom told me early, she was like, look, we don't have money for college. Like at 18, it's either you're going to get a scholarship and leave, or you're going to get a job and you're going to have to get up out of here soon. You know, that's just the way it is. So you know, I had that in the back of my mind all my life. And then I was going to school in Tacoma. And then in 8th grade, I went to my mom and said, I have to leave. I have to transfer. I have to go to a better school if I'm going to go to college, because even if I don't get a scholarship, then I want to be prepared for school. And I wasn't getting the knowledge that I felt like I was. We were plain and simple, we were bad kids. We would, we made teachers cry. We made teachers leave. My breaking point was we made this teacher leave for like 2 months, and I didn't learn English for 2 months, my English class. So it was like, I went to my mom and was like, I have to leave if I'm going to go and succeed where I want to go. And this was 8th grade. I was 13 years old, 12 years old, 13 or 14, you know, and I had to make that decision. So kids are going to be faced with that decision. Then there's little decisions. There's, do I go to this party, or do I go, you know, do I just stay inside that night, you know, or it's just little decisions, but every decision has a consequence, good or bad. So, you know, you got to stick with your decisions and stick with your dream and understand what you really want. Do you really want this life? Because it's hard. To get a scholarship is hard. To play basketball at a high level is hard. Or do you just want the lifestyle? Do you want the clothes? Do you want the shoes with it? Do you want, like, it's okay if that's what you want, but understand that if you want this basketball dream, it's a lot harder than people seem. Like, people get mad because I get to play a game of basketball for a living. And it's like, yeah, I worked hard for this. I didn't go to I went to 2 school dances, you know. I didn't go to parties with my friends on weekends when I was in high school. I didn't party for the first 2 years of college, I really didn't party. I locked myself in the gym, and I ended up starting as a freshman, and then I ended up being a captain on my sophomore year. So I worked for it, and I think I earned where I'm at right now, and I'm still climbing the ladder. I'm still sacrificing 10 months out the year,
Definitely.
in a way. So that's what I would tell them is just, be mindful of your decisions and be mindful that every decision has a consequence, good or bad.
Nice. Chime in, Renee. Chime in, babe.
Yeah. Of course, 2020 is a big challenge for all of us.
Yeah.
Oh, we all know what it's about. How was that for you? Have you played in Turkey in March, or where have you been in March when everything got very heated? Or in Germany?
Yeah, so I left Turkey early January, signed with Heidelberg in Germany. And then I was in Heidelberg. It was unfortunate because we started hitting the roll, and people were talking like, we could have been the second best team. Chemnitz was really good that year. Mm-hmm. Bremerhaven, we had just went to our last game was at Bremerhaven. We won by 15, and we were playing really well. And then we were in Germany. I was in Germany on March 13th, and I was home on March 14th. And it came quick. So it was. It came quick, but like you said, this has been a challenge this whole year, and different parts of my life have kind of prepared me for this challenge, and I was been so grateful to experience what I have in the past to help me get through here and come here fully prepared and ready to win. I didn't have to take no time.
So you directly you flew back to the States in March?
Yeah, directly. Yep.
Okay, and then you stayed there, and how was it after that? Like, how did you get the connection to Groningen, to the Netherlands, and how was that? And when did you came back?
It was good. So I came back, and then the coach I have here, Coach Rudez, was actually the coach with me in Karlsruhe. And then he got this job, and then, I reached out to him and talked to him, and then he, we just kept our conversation. I was in contact with him for the last year when we weren't playing, just because I appreciated his knowledge of the game, who he was as a person. So I always reached out to him to see how he was doing, how his family was doing. So it was kind of a constant conversation. And then he got this job, and then we just started talking. And then, I brought it to my agent, and we got it worked out, and
beautiful.
Yeah, and then I came, then just was working. I signed pretty early. I signed, I think, end of April or end of May, which was really nice to go into the summer, especially a summer with so many question marks and uncertainty, that I had a job and know what I was preparing for. I was preparing for, in my mind, every time I was training, it was Champions League, Champions League, Champions League. Like, I want to play in Champions League, and I have to qualify for it, our team. But knowing that, going into that, the last 3 months of the pandemic was reassuring. It was tough still, but it was reassuring. And then I got out here, July 28th was my flight.
Nice,
So one month ago, basically.
Yeah,
that was quite risky from their side to make that decision to sign a player in April. I mean, everything was all over the place at that point in time, and it worked out, I guess.
Yeah,
so
it's risky, but I mean, I played with Coach, and Coach knows me. He knows exactly what he's going to get. He knows I'm going to play hard. I'm going to make the winning play. When it's winning time, I'm going to try to win, do everything it counts to win. And that's, I think, the type of guys you need if you're going to be successful, not only in your domestic league, but in Europe.
Yeah, for sure. And let me go back and talk about what you had said earlier, too, because there's a lot of guys who think that if they play at the YMCA in Tacoma or in Bremerton or, in San Jose, California, and they average 20 points a game, they can come over here and play pro ball. But, you're different because when you play in front of 15,000 people, man, and you're at, University of Oregon or been in these hostile environments, and you take pride, like when you were in Turkey, you take pride in quieting those crowds down, man, and being in those hostile environments, man. Like, it's a completely different breed of animal. So let's talk about that a little bit, because I'm sure a few of your homeboys have hit you up like, yo, G, put me on, man. I'm ready to come ball.
I got some close friends that I'm in a constant.
Not hating, no, not hating. I'm not hating.
No. I got some close friends in my really close. These are my brothers, and we're in a constant argument about who would win one-on-one. I'm like, you guys won't score. Like this is not like we're gonna be like back and forth. Like, no, you will not score. One guy was arguing that he would get 2 points, and I was like, if I let you get 2 points, then yeah, if you just throw it up at the hoop every time and hope that the ball goes in, you might get 2. But if we're playing, you're not getting 2. It's just basketball is different. They think that and I get it because they're competitive, which you got to surround yourself with competitive people and like-minded people. But at the same time, you have to be a realist. Like I've done this, they probably stopped their senior year 6 years ago. And ever since then, I've been doing 2-a-days for the last 6 years, working on my game, continually growing, adding aspects. So like, I get it. I entertain it sometimes. Sometimes I just be like, you're right. You got it. You know what? Yeah. I'm not as good as you, but I get paid to do this. So make sure when my link comes up, you can click on the link and watch me play basketball.
Exactly. Support your boy. Exactly. So show love.
Yeah. So it's a constant battle, but it comes from all love. And like I said,
for sure.
If they're not competitive, then why be around me? I want you guys to be trying to better yourself. So I get it, but let's be real here,
Yeah, man.
Let's get in touch with reality.
Thanks for sharing that, because that's my thing. I tell guys are hitting me up all the time and ask me to help them get a job. And I tell them, I say, man, listen, some people just aren't going to be able to do this. There's only a certain amount of people in the world. I think it must be what the lower 2% of people in the world can get paid to be a professional athlete, and that's what you are. You know what I mean? And so, it just has to be respected. That's all. And I mean, I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from. It's the same with my guy Renee. Renee is training these youngsters and trying to prepare them to go and do track and field on a really high level. So it's like, it's easy for me to sit there and watch someone run 800 meters and then say, oh yeah, man, you know what? Okay, that's a slow time. But trust me, when that pandemic came, bruh, and I got on that track, bro, when I tell you I was about to die, I said, I will never say anything else about anyone running. I don't care if it's 60 meters or 10,000 meter steeplechase. I'm not saying eesh.
That is so true, because me being who I am and have a perspective, it's like when in college we would go, the football players would come to the rec and try to play us in basketball. I'd be like, no, bro, this is not close. I would never go onto the football field and be like, hey, bro, let's go run routes one-on-one. You would dominate me. I would hope you would,
right.
Something that I don't challenge how you worked for it and how that's you. You got it, bro. So don't come at me with basketball. That's just how I keep it.
Chime in, Renee. Jump in there, Renee.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. When I really tried out a lot of different sports, and sometimes it's you underestimate a lot of things and a lot of situations that can come across. And maybe before we end this conversation, one thing that you said right from the beginning, it just came back to my mind, and it's super cool. You said you need to learn how to lose, and you had that in your very young years. And I see that a lot of times when I think of kids that are trained in track and field, and I'm sure it's the same in different sports. Sometimes those kids that always win when they're 10, 12 years old, probably because they are physically more developed than others for any reason. Girls, boys, at a certain age, they are more muscular, a little bit taller and something, and they're used to win. And then at some point, it's not so easy anymore. They really have to put in the work, and then sometimes they just, from one year to another, they're not there anymore. Yeah, because they never learn how to lose, never learn how to put in the work. So kids need failures and some type of adversity in their lives. Otherwise, they will not make it to a high level.
Kids, but parents need to understand that their kid can lose as well. Parents need to understand that their kid's not the second coming. There's only one LeBron James in this world. So, and yeah, I had to learn.
And he definitely also lost a lot of battles in his early life, I'm sure.
Yeah, but he's also won a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
but yeah, I mean, just like anything, I was small until, you know, I was 17. I was getting, like you said, people were just more developed than me.
Yeah.
But I learned how to work hard. I learned how to compete, even though I wasn't winning. I learned how to, you know, go against somebody that's bigger. I learned how to not back down, and you know, that taught me so much, because when I grew up and where I am now today is because of that. You know, I'm still,
Exactly.
I got that mindset. I got that size now. So now I feel like I'm invincible. I can compete with anybody.
Exactly. And let's keep it official. There's a lot of dudes right now in Seattle working at that fish market in the morning, and they wish they was over here getting paid to chase around the ball like you do, homie. Let's keep it real.
That is what it is. I hope, you know, I hope they're doing good.
Yeah, good luck though.
I
No
work
hate.
for this.
Ain't no hate, baby.
No, I work for this. If y'all put in the time with me, I would expect you to be right here with me. But hey.
Preach.
All right, DaVonté. Thanks so much for being here.
Hey,
I enjoyed it a lot.
We appreciate you, dog.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me spit a little bit of knowledge and sharing my story. Anytime both you guys need anything, you know, don't hesitate to reach out. Anybody that sees this, don't hesitate to reach out.
Awesome.
I'm always an open book for everybody.
Beautiful, man. All right, we'll wait until the season gets started when you out there cooking fools, and then we'll bring you back on for a part two.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to do a catch up.
Beautiful.
Love to do a catch up.